Oh, neat. Oh, neat. I'm still going to screw this up. Okay. So we're here to talk about how to leverage data to inform key decisions, which is a lot of word salad for if we're making key decisions, we should probably be using data, right? Before I get to the poll, I'm going to ask a question that I don't want you to do a show of hands because I feel like people will lie because I would. I would totally lie. How many of you work in an association where a key decision was made based on somebody's gut feeling? Do not raise your hand. I see you. So we're going to talk about how we start democratizing our data, sharing our data with key decision makers and stakeholders. So we'll let Jessica introduce herself first.
Hi, thanks. My name is Jessica Vasquez. I'm the membership manager at the American Nuclear Society.
And she's going to share more with you with what she's doing at ANS. We had her and her team come on site for an adoption session, and it was a really great session. You could see people wanted to work with each other. No more silos. We want to get the job done, and they were going to use data to do it. And we talked about first steps because, yeah, we love AI, right? We love that vision of just sending all of our raw data out into the ether and getting back these perfectly curated insights. Are we there yet? Probably not. So before I'm going to ask a show of hands on this one, but before I do that, because I know that this is a very poorly worded question, I did not use AI to write it. I'm going to define what this means. So we all have members, we have membership, or maybe we have other things that are similar to a member, or maybe we have event attendees. So if I were to ask you a question about a segment of that population, and what I mean by segment is not your biggest membership group, but maybe your second biggest membership group, maybe a certain demographic, maybe somebody who has a credential. If I were to say, what is your retention rate on your flagship credential? Could you tell me? So there's three answers, and we're going to start with the let's be brutally honest. How many people here are not confident they could give me a reasonably accurate answer on a specific segment of their population if asked today? Okay, we've got some good honesty. I like it. 50-50. 50% of the time, maybe around there. If you ask me the right question, I'll probably have it, but there are a few segments I know I don't know. Okay, good, good. And how many of you are very confident? Any segment, give it to me. Ask me today. I got it. I want to see the confident people. Yes, Jess really does know. Now, if I took that out broader, okay, so I'm going to ask this question one more time. I'm going to take this out broader. If I went to any single individual in your association and asked the very same question, so I get to pick, it's roulette. It could be the person who knows the least. You hired them a month ago, okay? If I ask them that same question, now how many are not confident that person could answer the question? Anyone? Come on. The person you hired a month ago, could they find the answer to what percentage of your second most popular membership type are retaining as of last year? Okay. How about 50-50? If you could probably get about half of my organization, and at 50% of the time, they'll answer just as well as I do. And now, how many of you are very confident? You know everybody in your organization, same page, same source of truth will give you the same answer you would. Anyone? It's okay to be honest on this. I worked in the association industry for 13 years. Every year in those 13 years, I was either 50-50 or not confident, no matter how hard I tried. So, what if now today we're going to be talking about chapters, sections, divisions, and things like that, but let's substitute something that is relevant to your organization. We don't all have chapters. We don't all have members. Some of us have events. Some of us have uncommon membership structure types. But think of something that not everybody in your association knows. What if they did know that? And then you ask them to come to the table and make an important decision. What would happen then? What could we communicate to our subgroups, our stakeholders, our board members, our committee members? What if our committee members could log in somewhere and just see what our retention is right now, today? What if that could happen? So I want you to think about these things, and then I want you to think about what if we could fully automate the process of providing data to these member group subgroups or to our board members or to that person in the association who's not very confident of the answer that I just asked them for. And the one final thing I wanted to point out, because it's kind of the elephant in the room, I hate that I had to follow Greg. I really do. Okay. So AI is not directly involved here, but I want to ask the room, does anyone feel like AI jeopardizes someone's job in their association? Please be honest. Anyone? I feel AI jeopardizes my job no matter what I do ever. I feel it. Okay. I want to reframe that. Okay. What if AI jeopardized your association's existence? What if AI got so good at generating educational content, so good at generating and meeting the needs of the audience that your association serves, that it served you right out of business? Have you been on LinkedIn Education lately, Udemy, Skillshare? Right? Could your members get that education elsewhere? So, what is it associations bring to the table when we talk about AI? They bring community. This is a community of like minded individuals experiencing similar circumstances professionally, usually, or in some sort of industry, and they are coming together. So, when you think about your membership, AI, threats to your job, these big questions, also think about what are we doing to ensure that our community stays safe and whole, and how are we using data to do it? So, without further ado, I'm going to talk about Jess is going to talk about her very specific data challenge. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to ask you for questions. And I hope that you have one.
Thanks. So before I really get started, I'll give you some background on ANS, the American Nuclear Society. Of course, our scope is huge. We cover all of nuclear science and technology. We serve about 10,800 members, and very crucial to our structure, we have 18 technical professional divisions, and they exist to serve these specific technical areas within nuclear. So fusion energy, operations and power, decommissioning. These are very different corners, very different audiences. And they're very important to our structure in that when we look for specific content to serve our members, we need to go to the experts. So they put on topical conferences, they engage with us on certification and standards content, as well as for our professional technical journals. So they're very important to us. About 4 years ago, we were coming out of the pandemic, and like probably everyone in this room, we were looking at our tech stack and we're like, oh no, we need to make a change. So as part of that change, we adopted the Acumen platform, which is a business analytics software made for associations. And that software has three core modules: membership, events, and sales. And we started using that platform very well. We were making strategic decisions based on the insights we found. But as we went further down that path, we realized that we really needed to take it a step further and drill that information and that metrics based decision making process down into our divisions, into our segments, because of the important role they play in our organization. The challenge with this is that we have 18 of them. So any effort you put into one has to be replicated several times. And also, the quality of the data is important. Our membership base is scientists and engineers. There's just nowhere to hide. I mean, probably a lot of you have scientific members, and you are providing data to people who are much better qualified than you are, probably, to look at this data and come to conclusions from it. So it had to be really good. What we started doing was providing what we call division snapshots, and we would do this twice a year in advance of our national meetings, and they were wildly successful. The division leaders loved them. We got great feedback. They were using the information that we gave them. They started to request more data, more in-depth reporting. They want the information more often. We were too successful because at the time what we were doing was we were manually querying out reports from our old AMS, and they were taking all these spreadsheets and we were combining them together, and we were pushing out Excel charts and then dropping them into a presentation format and then emailing them out individually 18 times. So it was a huge staff drain. It was not really sustainable. And as the requests kept coming in, we had to pause and say, we've got to continue doing this. It's clearly of strategic importance to our member leaders. It's, a great thing to do, but we can't sustain this. And so what we did was we turned back to Acumen to see what we could do with this platform to drill down into that segmented data. What we ended up doing was adding the My Acumen module. And what this does is it allows you to create and edit the reports that already exist in Acumen right within that platform. Acumen is built on Microsoft Power BI. I am a non-technical staff member, and Power BI is a little bit of a heavy lift for me, but I really know what's going on in my membership. I know the data we want to see. And so this allowed me to work with, with some guardrails up. Like I compare it to like bowling versus bowling with the bumpers up. You can't really break anything. You don't have to do super complex technical tasks. You can copy the core reports, make some small changes, and really deliver fast and easy wins, which is what we did here. And then, best of all, if you have a million chapters or a million different segments of whatever you're working on, you can automate that report delivery by subscribing your leaders directly to them. And so the result was better reports with a lot less staff time. There were really just 4 steps to do this specific project. I took the membership core reports that did have our secondary membership data, hosted within, and I copied them into my Acumen. And then I just made small changes. I locked in a filter showing only the membership segment that I needed to see. I deleted unnecessary visuals. Our chapters, they have no revenue dues attached to them. So they didn't need to see anything that had to do with money. I, rearranged charts to put the most relevant content up front for them. And then finally, when I was happy, you just clone that report 18 times, plug in your right division, and then subscribe your volunteer leaders to the report. And I want to show you a few screenshots of what it looks like to work within my Acumen. If you have worked in Power BI before, a lot of the content on the right side of the screen will be familiar to you. So you can see that my Acumen exposes the data and visualization panel from Power BI. The beauty of this is because I work from copied reports, the measures that were already written by Association Analytics for these core membership reports are all there. The tables are there, the measures are there. There's no DAX, there's no measures. I don't want to get into that. So it's just there for you. You can cherry pick the fields that you want nestled under those tables. And then you can use the visualization pane to, change that report, make it look a little bit different, make it fit your purposes. And then in the center there, you'll see the filters pane. And what's interesting about the filters is you'll see that a lot of these have that like hidden eye icon. Because I'm working from copied reports, this is not visible to me in the membership core module, but once it's exposed in my Acumen, you can see the amount of behind the scenes filters that are locked in place to make these reports work. Again, I'm not going to touch these. I know they're there for a reason. That's all I need to know. So I'm only working with certain filters that make sense to me, that make sense with the data that I usually see at the level I'm working with. So, I've locked the division type down. So I'm only seeing members within this one segment. And then on the far left hand, you see sort of the end product. And this is a completely unique report. It really, if you looked at my membership core module right now, this doesn't look anything like it. But I've done very little original work here. The chart in the top left-hand corner is one that I created like from scratch from this data. But the rest of them I cherry picked from throughout pages and pages of reports. And I've maybe deleted some things, maybe I've changed the chart type, I've rearranged things, but I have created a very unique custom report for my division leaders without a lot of technical effort. And I did just cherry pick a few more slides or a few more charts I wanted to show you guys so that you can kind of see the power and how deep you can go with this. This is good information, even at your high level association analytics. But then when you think about this applied to these subgroups in your chapters, you really start to understand the power that these subgroups can have. With my manual report polls, I could of course provide, here, division leader, here are your members, top 10 states. Acumen can do that too, but it can also go a step further and it groups them by region. So at one quick glance, this division can tell that when they are looking for a venue for their next topical meeting, it should probably be in Atlanta and not Boston, because you can see that the biggest portion of their members reside in the South. Even retention rates, we probably all have a good handle on this at this, this level, your whole membership by membership type. But I have 18 technical divisions. I have local sections, I have student sections. No one would track retention rate within these groups, in any kind of manual way. So having that exposed for these leaders, and then like we'll take it a step further. You can drill down into retention rate by position. So this particular division is showing some weakening with student member retention rates. Whereas if you have the title of professor, those are going up. So they do expose a lot of key insights and trends. And I will say this, when I was approached to do the data project for the division leaders, I went into it thinking that it might be a waste of time, that it might just show that these trends that we were seeing across our whole membership were just trickling down through the sections. And I was pretty surprised that that was not the case. The section data, when compared to one another, is very different. Some of them buck the trends that we're seeing at this higher level. And because they do contribute a lot to these non dues revenue generating activities, it's sort of important to know if you're looking at a division that maybe is showing shaky growth with young members and students, like that could be a problem in 10 years, and you want to know that now. So it really exposed for me some blind spots that I didn't know I had. Um, so that really wraps up this project. We do have next steps and things that we want to do with this module going forward. Some ideas, such as after I wrap this project up, I'll be creating dashboards for each of our staff departments so that we can track metrics and track how we're doing in a uniform fashion across different areas. So I will hand this back to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Jess. And I can't say like how amazing this is because instead of coming to us, she figured this out on her own and had already gone down this path on the day that we did adoption day with them. And they were already sharing insights that they had discovered on their own. And we told them, we said, if you didn't have 18 chapters, let's say you had 100, 200, we could custom build a solution using a website that dynamically checks for credentials for that person and show them what you want to see as well. Depending on the size of the solution depends, kind of on how much effort we put into that in terms of customization. But this is a perfect first step because if this works, Jess and her team might want to do this in another way. And now you might be saying, well, there's there's not a lot of AI in this. And I really want to get to the good part, the AI. But Jess learned with her team, there were some data opportunities that were being missed that day. And we did it by putting the data on the screen and showing them what demographics they had, which I think you already felt that, but your team had it validated Jess, which I thought was great because I've been in the same seat Jess is in. I want validation. So sometimes just seeing the data gives you that validation that you need to show, hey, we need to focus more on getting these demographics so we can make key segmentation decisions on where we point people and pathway them throughout their career. Job title, by the way, is a great demographic. I can't speak highly enough on maintaining that because you can tell exactly where somebody is in their career by their job title. Okay, I put a lot on you, just put a lot on you. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, there's a question I just got. Um, I guess for you, Jessica, do you have a data governance team? And if so, how did you recruit them and how often do you meet?
I think I am the data governance team. We're we're a fairly small association. We're mid-sized. We have about 40 staff members. I work very closely with one other staffer who's been on our team for like 30 years and really knows across different AMSs as we've upgraded the technology, why things are the way they are. Some of your data, that you inherit can be a little funky. So we meet pretty regularly. I work very closely with IT too, but I'm primarily kind of the one trying to get a handle on the data and getting our analytics in place.
Okay, great. Yeah, there was a follow-up question, but it was about what things do the team meet about, what's their charge? But if you don't have a formal one, I guess that's all up to you.
Yeah, I am the decision maker. A lot of it's, keeping data clean, making sure you're collecting the right data. As Rachel said, we went through a lot of changes in the past 4 years. And one of the things was we thought that our membership join renewal form was way too long, and it was. But we kind of whiplashed too far the other way and we stripped down everything. Like, give us your credit card and your name and you're a member. And so we had this problem where we wanted data, we wanted analytics, but we also weren't collecting it. And no amount of marketing campaigns that I wrote could fill that hole. So we did just recently correct course a little bit and add some things back into that form. So it's an ever evolving process.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Rachel, for that.